Chase, my brother kept a journal journal. He had 2 columns on every page split right down the middle. In the first column, he would write down a dream, and in the next, he would write down the meaning of a dream after looking it up in the dream dictionary. When I had my vivid dreams, I would go to Chase's room and we'd sit and try to interpret the meaning of our dreams. I eventually came to him so much that Chase started a page in his journal just for me. He split the page right down the middle to make 2 columns, and at the top he wrote Emily's dreams. At night, I dreamt about Chase. He was sitting on the top of a hill in a cemetery, alone, drinking vodka straight off the bottle. There were these black figures approaching him, and at first they began from afar, but gradually, slowly, these unnatural and monstrous figures were making their way towards him, trapping him in from all sides. Chase wasn't afraid. As these figures made their way towards him, Chase sat and continued to drink as though Chase was letting this happen. And as they made their final steps towards him, I awoke from my nightmare screaming in a sweat. Blurry-eyed, I looked at the clock. 3 a.m. I made my way over to Chase's room so that we could have another one of our little dream talks. That's what he called it. And there he was. I tried not to scream, but I called for Mom and Dad. Father stared, trembling, and that's when I saw the bottle of pills next to Chase's arm, and that's when it all hit me. Mama ran to his lifeless body. Chase, wake up! Chase, wake up! Chase, wake up! She screamed and repeated as though every plea that came out of her mouth, every distressed syllable that rolled off her tongue was but another addition to the grotesque image that would be embedded, drilled, engraved, and trapped, involuntarily heaving itself into our minds forever. Forever. The essence of that word. Webster defines forever as an endless time for all time. And if that is in fact forever, then I don't want any part of it. I hope that this forever is as valid as an unfaithful wife coming home for the first time after a week-long business trip. With purple and red bite marks on her neck, she kisses her husband and says, "I'll love you forever." Because that's what mother does. And that's what her forever is. And father takes his forever day by day, bottle by bottle, and shot by shot. He throws a fit out of his drunken rage. Mother kisses her coworkers, blazers and office skirts on the office floor. She buys new lingerie that Daddy never sees. Mother doesn't come home for days at a time. This is how she escapes forever. Our ruby red shutters that Mother once loved ripped off the windows, and holes in the walls which indicate my father has cuts and bruises on his hands. Instead of waving hello, our neighbors now greet me with a sympathetic smile and a look that says, "It gets better." Come home, sweep up the broken glass, and ignore Father's drunken insults towards me so I can make sure he's eaten something. And when I have, close the door to my room and I stay. Because that's where I know I'm safe when Father begins drinking again. It's where I'm safe when his rage begins. I am living in forever. One of us has to live in forever. And I know Father doesn't mean what he says, because he once told me I was beautiful. When I would hit my home runs, he'd be the loudest in the stands, jumping up and down and screaming, "That's my girl!" He'd make sure to treat me with ice cream even after a loss. Father used to be so proud of me. He used to not frighten me. What I would give to be able to have the image of my brother's lifeless body erased from my mind. What I would give for my dad to be able to get sober and for his rage to stop. And for me to feel safe in my own home. For this house to feel like home again. And for my mother to be here for my father and stray her attention off the other men and onto my father again. What I would give to be able to see my brother alive and well. What I would give to be able to know he was hurting. I would have stopped at nothing to fight it, whatever it was. But this is my new forever. The undeniable kind of forever.